The Crash Course Podcast is brought to you in part by derbyparts.com, Smashmaster, Derby Parts, and Derby Inc. Magazine. Live it, breathe it, be it, Derby Inc. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby Podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York.
You hear me all right?
And now your host, Chris Marquardt.
Good afternoon, good evening, good day. Welcome to the Crash Course. We got Steve Bucknam joining us on the live chat line. You could on the Skype line. You could hear him kind of ringing into the background as we brought up Skype. We've also got Josh Decker here in studio. There's Steve. We still got to reset your camera there too. There's Steve. Josh Decker's here in studio.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear anybody.
I can't hear.
Then we've also got Brian Tompkins. The beard's looking fierce, by the way. Mean Steve Bucknam up there. And whatever.
Is that a pink hat?
Is that a pink hat, Steve?
It is not pink.
It's not. Okay.
I can't hear Steve.
It's the Tractor Supply.
Somebody help me. I'm like
grab the other set of headphones. The splitter might have come unplugged out back.
Idea.
Yeah, grab the other set. There's another one there. Crash Course Derby Podcast presented by Keystone Nationals from now straight through the end of July when the Keystone Nationals rolls off down there in Brookville, Pennsylvania. We appreciate those guys coming on and being part of it. You know, look for their ad in the next edition of Derby Inc. magazine, which is due out in March. Before that, we got a couple travels to make. We're going to be going to the Redneck Rumble here this Saturday, which is promoted by Brandon Dixon in Sturgis, Kentucky. Woo. Josh over there fist bumping. We're going to be doing a live show there, working in tandem with Derby Tees. So that'll be a lot of fun down there And that is going to be a beta test, if you will. If everything goes good there, then it's going to open up a lot of doors for a lot of the pay-per-view stuff. So we'll have to see what happens. Had a conversation with Sam Williams. He's got some announcements and stuff that are going to be coming up. He says that he wants to reveal those on our program, so we look forward to having him on with Blizzard Bash. And then February 8th, we're going to be on the road to Garden City, Minnesota. We're going to be doing a whole bunch of stuff out there. And then the week after that, February 15th, we're going to be at the Owego Treadway Inn in Owego for the annual Derby party. So we've got a busy couple weeks here ahead of us. Also joining us on the show before we get to Brandon Dixon, we're going to be talking with Troy Tagg from out in California, our first West Coast guest. So that'll be a lot of fun to get with him. I know.
Second West Coast guest.
Second West Coast guest.
Good point.
Yep, first California guest. First California guest. Is that better? Is it because it's better because it's right? How about that? Right? We strive for accuracy in the most inaccurate ways. It's a lot of fun. So how have you been up there, Steve? I mean, you been getting any of this snow and weather?
We got a little bit of snow again today. They said we could possibly get up to 2 inches tonight, but it's died off again right now. And it's about 40 degrees outside, so I think we're okay for right now.
You know what they do for fun in New Hampshire? They shave their heads. He was out there with a razor stylizing his. There it is, right there. Look at that. Looks great. Woo.
Sure.
Brian got the glass out of the Cadillac yet?
No.
You're so far behind.
It's sitting right in the same spot it was. I actually no. It's in a different spot than it was like last week at this time.
It's going to start rusting.
It's actually made it to my parents' house, and I keep hoping the Derby elves or fairies are going to show up and get it done. And
I got some good news for you. By the way,
what's that?
I had a little bit of a talk with Jeremy Gard.
Yeah.
He said he is willing to build a Mopar motor.
Okay.
We need to know if you want a 318 or a 360.
360 all day long.
360.
Yep.
Okay. Well, you come up with the block and the rest of the money. He'll be happy to build it for you.
Oh, the rail's going.
I got the block. I got the block. That's no problem. Everybody wants to dump about 6,500, 7,000 in the motor. Let me know.
Not happening.
Don't hurt it.
Yeah. Absolutely not.
Funny.
But yeah, I was talking with Bobby Brockway a little bit about those Mopars, and you came up how you'll only run the Mopar power plants and everything, and that's one of the reasons why they went with Bobby Whitaker instead of you on their team for Spring Explosion, and yeah, we got on the topic of the engine and stuff, and he goes, Jeremy said he would do it, but he was really not wanting to.
Hey, let the record show if my name was mentioned to Jeremy Garden and he was okay with building a motor for a stack of money, then that's cool. That's someday I'm gonna be big. Someday I'm gonna be big time like Decker. That's my goal. That's what I'm looking for.
Keep dreaming. I'm just busting balls.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I wish they'd build me a motor. I do need. They got some nasty ones on there. Hey, I was looking at the cars for this weekend for Sturgis. Yeah. There are some insane looking cars on Facebook. I mean, like plates over plates and wrapped around. Some guys have been spending some time in the garage.
They have been working. The show post, which went up, thanks so much to all those guys that have all those guys and gals out there on Facebook that have been supporting it. Over 4,000 people saw that post. That was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yep, and it took about 12 hours to do it. So that was a very short amount of time. Sunday morning is pretty much the time to launch those because everybody's just kind of catching up and exactly.
Very true.
And we covered some ground in a hurry with that, and that was a picture of the raffle car that we had on there that is going to be at Blizzard Bash. Somebody's going to get to drive that. That's in paint now.
Oh man,
it's black and blue. So that was
I'm gonna spend some money on that.
That was pretty wild to see that car in its current state. And if you start looking real close and picking that thing over, it is built for destruction. Yeah. It is ready to go. Yeah, and also on that post, you probably saw the sweatshirts that are available through Derby Tees.
Yep.
So they got a whole slew of those. The official event T-shirt provider, Derby Tees, and Mark Klein Designs. We're going to be spending a lot of time with him on Saturday.
Awesome, good guy, for sure.
Baldwin, by the way, on the topic that you're interested,
they're building me one.
Nope, not quite.
Close, almost there, buddy.
I had a dream.
Almost.
I had a dream about that. Go ahead.
Baldwin Engines is raffling off a block like they did at Blizzard Bash,
awesome.
And those guys are going to be there, and the guys from Bash for Cash, Tim from Smash It is going to be down there,
cool,
as well, and Wade from Derby Parts. derbyparts.com.
Wade's going to be in Sturgis?
I believe so.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, he's all over like us.
I believe he's going to be there.
Yeah, because he's planning on being up to SummerSlam.
Winter
Slam in Minnesota.
I don't want to speak out of school and have people expect to see him there, but my understanding was that Wade was going to be there. Now that you mentioned that with surprise, it makes me second guess myself, but I was pretty sure he was going to be there.
No, I seen on there on Winter Slams.
Yeah, Winter Slam. You said.
Yeah, Randy put it up there.
No, I'm talking about Sturgis.
Oh.
Sturgis.
Oh, that's your fault.
Hey, let the record show if it's wrong. Chris Marquardt said it.
Yeah. I'm taking responsibility for it. I have no problem with that.
We're not.
I mean, Steve Bucknam told me. I mean, that's
right.
And Steve knows everything before we did, so we're golden.
That's funny.
That's right. If all else fails, blame it on me. I'm far enough away.
Steve Bucknam gave away his favorite cereal bowl to a guy named Stanley, and now they pass it out at the end of the NHL season. It's just one of those things.
Ouch! Man, that hurts.
No, that's a compliment, dude. It turned into Lord Stanley's cup.
That cup wasn't big enough for me to hold my cereal. I had to get a bigger one.
I got to get Troy on the phone. You guys got something to talk about for a minute while I call him?
Yeah, actually, I got something to talk about. Troy's going to be on today, and I've been talking to his son a little bit, Josh Tagg. And Josh is actually stationed up at Fort Drum, up in New York. And there's not a lot going on up there, but I have been talking to Josh. He is going to be here all summer, and he does want to run a car. I'm going to help him. I think Troy's going to talk a little bit about him. He's in the military. He's actually got a lot of good stuff going on in the military, and I want to help support him a little bit. So if maybe somebody could help me out this year, I'm going to throw a car together. I might throw him in a pre-run. Obviously, we're going to go to somewhere the podcast is, maybe Penn Yan, maybe Broome County, somewhere local. But I'm hoping somebody could help me out with some parts and stuff. If anybody'd like to help, get in contact with me, and we'll get a car together for him.
Hey, Josh, if he wants to come to a woodworker show, I'll help out as well.
Oh, Steve, that's actually I might try to set that up because he's willing to help pay and all that stuff. So maybe you and me can get together after the show and maybe we can work something out with that. Good idea.
Absolutely, yeah.
Cool.
We do have Troy on the line. Troy, welcome to the crash course, appearing on the derbyparts.com hotline.
All right.
Well, we appreciate you taking some time out and hanging out with us here a little bit. Tell us a little bit about the derby scene out there in California.
Yeah, I bet you there's 20, 30 races out here, minimum a year. The rules in Northern California have kind of gotten together the last couple of years where we could weld the car up pretty good. They're letting us add 12 inches of plate, even on a new car. Weld the bumpers up real good. 18-inch brackets, good roll cages. They do not like distributor protectors or tranny braces here in California.
Do you guys run into much in California about with the emissions regulations and how you have different standings in California than they do in most of the rest of the country. Do you have any issues with running derbies, along those lines? Do you have to encounter any certain emissions issues, or do you have to leave the exhaust in place or anything like that?
No, not yet. But California is very, very tough on emissions. It's funny you bring that up. My daughter's car just flunked smog.
Oh, no.
So.
That sucks.
Yeah, we didn't have inside information on that either. I didn't mean to rub anything in there.
Open wound, here's some salt.
It depends on, I think it depends on what part of California you're in. There's a couple of areas that the locals get kind of upset where they don't like derby in their area. They're it's a hippie community, and they don't like the noise. They don't like the possibility of stuff on the ground. That's happened once or twice.
That's crazy.
Yikes.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Now, how about cars out there? Like from New York, we picture like California is just junkyards full of cars that are all mint condition. When you're going to look for cars, do you guys even look for rust, or are most of them just pretty clean from the bat? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
If a car has rust, we don't use it. You know what? There's not much rust back here, man. I would say out of the 15 cars that we got in storage right now, there might be one or two that might have minimal rust. It's just not an issue out here. The only cars that are really rusty are the ones that come from back east.
Right.
Today's a sunny day out here. It's 70 degrees.
Oh, wow.
Must be nice.
It's beautiful out here.
It's about 15 here. The wind is blowing.
Yeah.
It's freezing. I got long johns on. Yeah, but when you guys, with the cars out there, do you guys pretty much pick up, like you like Cadillacs or early 60s Fords, you pretty much buy them and stick to them? Are there so many out right there in California that you can just go looking for the car that you want? Because pretty much me, I come across a car, if I have enough money, I buy it. And I don't really get to pick what I want all the time, if that makes sense.
Well, cars they're still relatively hard to find. Craigslist is always, number one. Tow yards and wrecking yards, depending on where you're at, they're a good resource. And, there's guys that have just been derbying forever that have huge stockpiles. They're like hoarders.
Yeah, must be nice.
That would be nice.
There's still guys that sell clean wagons. I just seen on Facebook this week, there was a guy that bought a clean, stripped-out wagon. I bet she paid $1,000 for a rust-free roller wagon.
Man, it's been double that here.
Yeah, that'd have been $2,000 all day.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Jeez.
Cool.
They're still out here. They're getting harder and harder to find. But no, we kind of, it's kind of like having golf clubs. You got to always have something in your stockpile, depending on what the rules are, where you're racing, so you can kind of pull it out and go with it.
Absolutely right.
Cool.
Absolutely right.
So it's nice to have an old Ford, a Cadillac, an Imperial, a couple shockers, so that depending on where you go, you can fit the car to the rules.
Yeah. Now, so you guys do have Imperials. You guys are getting. I have seen some pictures of some guys out your way with Imperials. Or is there still a lot of shows that let them run?
No, not really. I mean, there's a handful across the states here, the western states. WGAS, a promoter out this way, likes to run them, but they're getting fewer and fewer.
Mm-hmm.
Because not everybody has Imperials. So to compete, you got to have an Imperial.
But on the opposite side of it, are they allowing 03 and newer Vics?
No.
No.
I've only seen two of them ever out here in California. Ever. And
is it just that you haven't had it?
The Chivers brothers from San Jose, who do a really, really good job. And they were real tough and beat everybody down the entire season with it.
Ouch.
And the next year, the promoter came out with rules around it.
Right, of course. Well, of course, that's what happens. Now, I see that you're part of the Utah Facebook page. Are you guys close enough that you get to go over and run with those guys that were on the show, or have you not gotten over that far to Derby?
No. I like running in Utah, man. I like the promoters out there stirring dirt, do a good job. They're straight up, they're honest, they do a pretty good job at checking, and they pay well. There was a couple of shows last year on the same day that paid $10,000 to win on the same day. within like 2 hours of each other.
No way.
That's crazy.
And how did that turn out? Did all of them go to one show? How did that end up breaking out?
There was like 50-something people at one show and only 21 at the other show, 25 at the other show. So Nephi got a whole bunch of people, and I think it was Salt Lake City, where I ended up going, only got maybe 24.
There was
that's good odds. That's pretty good odds.
Yeah.
I was going to win with only 24 people. You know?
Yeah, definitely. I'd go there.
I was talking with John Gullo from Stern Dirt about that one time, and there was one weekend where everybody had just insane purses, and there was like something crazy like $60,000 in prize money, all being given away on the same night within 5 hours of each other in Utah.
That's awesome.
I mean, imagine having that to pick from. It's like, where are you going to go? Because everything is just so dense. You came out and ran Mayhem a couple times.
I have. I've ran Mayhem 3 times, I think, in the last 5 years.
That's awesome.
It was a white Ford at one point. Was one of them? Was that yours?
I'm sorry?
Was one of yours a white Ford or a Mercury?
I think it was 09. I ran a 57 Ford 2-door.
Nice.
Yeah, that's I got pictures of that car at home that I found. I didn't know that they were Troy's until after we'd connected through Facebook. And
so, Troy, when you get out there to Mayhem,
cool.
what did you think of the cars compared to how they were building them in your neck of the woods?
Oh man, I tell you what, every time I go back east, my game steps up 2 or 3 notches, man.
Mm-hmm.
The guys that come from Ohio and Illinois and that whole area back there, man, you guys are just miles ahead of us out here.
Yeah.
So it's like college. When I go there, I come back here with all kinds of new technology, new shit, and everybody hates on me for 2 or 3 years.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Serious, because people are stuck in their old ways.
Yes.
They have been racing the old Fords out here and the Chevy wagons for years and years and years. And they have their way of building them. So when somebody comes through with tranny braces and distributor protectors and really well built motors, it's hard to accept that kind of stuff, especially when
you don't know about it. You're not educated on it.
Yeah. Especially when somebody like that wins every once in a while, then they're against the technology. You know?
Well, I think that's a problem with promoting around the country is that sometimes the promoters aren't learning as fast as the drivers are. Promoters aren't educating themselves quickly. So, like you say, you show up with something and all of a sudden they're against it because they just don't know.
I tell you, that's one of the things that has ruined the shows here in California is the promoters. They don't travel. They don't go to any other shows.
Exactly.
And they haven't really progressed from the 80s. So
they're way behind.
they have no idea what they're looking at. So I don't know. I like to have techs that are knowledgeable, that communicate, that go to different shows, that, you're lucky if they drive cars, that do a really thorough job. I don't want anybody getting in with anything more than I got.
Right, exactly.
It's the official's job. Make sure that everything is square, on the up and up, that they're honest, and that they do a fair and thorough job.
Absolutely right.
And that's the best show right there.
Yep.
And when the show's over, I like to see shit cut open. I want to make sure nobody got in with anything illegal.
That's cool.
Cut them frames apart, man. Especially when you're paying $5 and $10 grand to win.
How is that cutting the frame open process received? Really, I mean, all things considered, if you've got that much money sunk into your car, if there's still some salvageability out of that car, are those guys receptive to having their frames cut open? I mean, at that point, you can't really fix them and use them again in that same style show.
You're cutting something maybe the size of a silver dollar.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, no, that's
like drilling
I
them
misunderstood
out.
completely.
Yep.
When you said cut open, I was thinking
slid them right
Just
across.
cut right across. Let's check it out.
Open it up. If you want to look at something, open it up and look.
Yeah. Well, you know what? If I won $10 grand at a show like that, and somebody said, "Hey, let's crack it open," I'd say, "Cut that son of a bitch open."
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
I got $10 grand in my pocket. I'm happy.
Yep.
Let's go have some dinner. I'll put the car back together later.
And really, what more could you ask from a car than 10 grand?
Yeah, 10 grand.
all right, she's gone.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
And all the expensive stuff you can still unbolt.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
Goodbye,
all
honey.
It's more of a point. There's 1 or 2 promoters here in California. TNT, Tim Thomas does a great job. He is known for making sure that the top 3, he cuts little holes in the suspect areas on every car every time.
That's cool.
So when you go to his show, there's no bullshitting around.
Right.
From the get that he's cutting a quarter-size hole in your horns and in your lowers and in your humps. And he'll let you patch it, if you come to his next show. But everybody knows, you better show up clean.
Right. Oh,
which is awesome.
That's what you need.
You win $10,000 with a car. What happens to the car? Does it go to the scrapyard so that you get the scrap money back out of it, or does that thing sit in the back of your yard forever and just plant flowers around it and remember that day?
Yeah, no, I got a Cadillac that I won $10,000 show with, and it's still sitting in my yard right now.
Yeah,
definitely.
That's great.
Definitely, that's cool. That's real cool.
Yeah. We've talked before about Richard Petty's place or Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s place, and they got all sorts of cars and stuff back in the woods, that are memento cars and stuff like that. It's good to hear Derby guys get sentimental too.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? Most of it comes down to having an area to store all that stuff. That's the other bad thing about California is, we got, cars, and they're relatively rust-free. But, the beautification laws and the abatement laws and the city ordinances, are just off the hook out here, man. It is almost impossible to store cars or even work on cars legally in your area out here, man.
That's crazy.
So it is really, really bad. I know people that own acres and acres, and they get hit up to where, hey, you know what, your car's got to go.
That's horrible.
I can even imagine
that.
that.
No, that is no bullshit.
Where I live, no one says anything.
I've had more problems with storage over the last 30 years, man, where I've had to move cars from spot to spot to spot to spot to spot, But right now, I rent a spot in a tow yard. I rent a section of a tow yard, so...
That's a good idea.
So I guess you can't...
There's zone for that type of stuff.
As densely populated as California is, what are the municipality auctions like? I mean, can you come up with just Crown Vic on top of Crown Vic? Around here, that's like, municipality option or something like that. It might be 4 or 5 cars.
Every time I go to the scrap yard, there's Crown Vics everywhere, man. I'm everywhere out there. Nobody races them out here yet.
Right.
Nobody races them.
You don't have to.
We had an 80s and newer show last year. I think 5 cars showed up.
That's great.
There's still too much old iron out here.
That's so
there's
cool.
Suicides and Caddies and Buicks and mid-70s Chevys. They're still available.
So what you're saying is...
I mean, they're not falling off the trees, but you could still get them. It hasn't came to the point to where we need to run Vicks yet.
California virtually is the heaven of demolition derby, is what you're saying to us right now. Pretty much what you're saying.
I know it sounds like a double-edged sword, though. I mean, you can't store them, you can't stockpile them, you can't work on them, but you can have.
But there's cars everywhere.
That's so crazy. It's so crazy. I mean, we fight for cars up here. Like literally fight for cars up here.
Yeah.
Sometimes Josh will scrap a car just so somebody else can't drive it.
It's happened. I buy cars all the time just so other people can't have them. Someone taught me that years ago. Buy them so other people can't. Okay,
Absolutely.
That's a good idea.
I know. Better go get it before this other guy gets it.
Yep, do it
there's
all the
a lot of
time.
guys up here that do that.
Do it all the time. I don't even want it.
Yeah. No, they're still available, man, which is good. We're lucky. We're fortunate. Wish we had better promoters out here so that I could run out here more. That's why I run in Utah. It's so hard to find straight promoters nowadays, man, where you can get a fair shake, where everything's on the up and up. That's why I travel. That's one of the reasons why I came to Mayhem, man.
That's cool.
To experience how stuff was done back there.
Troy, did you run Mayhem 2010?
I did not, I don't think. I think I run. Did I run 2010? My son's sitting in the truck with me right now. I ran a 57 Merc, and I ran a 59 Merc, and I think I skipped a year, then I ran a Caddy.
We went and watched.
I did run 2. Yeah, I ran 2010, ran 09, 10, and then 12. Yeah.
All right, when we went out to Mayhem in 10, we met some guys, and they were from California, and their kids were from California, and they were coming to run, and their stuff came in on a car, like a car hauler, like a
semi.
Was that some of you and some of your crew, or possibly?
Yeah, that was all us. We had I think we brought 12 or 13 cars that year from California.
Yeah. Oh man, that is awesome.
That was we were. It's a 12-hour drive for us, and we drove straight through. And before we went to the track, we went in to get something to eat, and we're sitting there talking. And there's like 6 or 7 of us here from New York, and there was a couple older gentlemen in there, and they said, you guys here for the Derby? We said, yeah, and asked them. They're like, yep, we're from California. Our boys, they sent their car or shipped their cars from California. It's 48 hours of hauling to get here. And he said they'll be ready. And then we went out there, and the guys from California were just tearing shit up. I mean, they were foot on the boards, just junking shit. It was that was some of the best part of that mayhem was watching you guys junk stuff. There was definitely a lot of junk when you guys got done. That was awesome.
Yeah, and usually that group of guys, we all run against each other. It's unusual to get 12 drivers that are all top drivers together like that. We all put down all our bullshit. We had a big, what we call the mayhem party at the beginning of the year. Everybody signed up on a dry race board, who was going, who might not go. It was a big event for us to get that together, get the cars transported, get hotels. Some guys flew out. There was a lot of behind the scenes, up front communication organization that has to go on to get that many cars, man.
Oh,
we're just dumbass derby drivers, you know what I mean? When it comes down to it, there's nothing rich or nothing special about any of us. We just wanted to go back east and mess with the best in the nation, man. That's what we were looking at.
And you guys did. You guys were tearing stuff up. You all put on a hell of a show. It was impressive.
Now, Troy, you guys were down at Blizzard Bash. What did you think of Blizzard when you were down there?
Best show I ever been to, bar none.
Yeah, it was awesome, wasn't it? It was so kick-ass.
Bar none.
Yeah.
I look forward to going next year.
You should bring a car.
Sam Williams, the guy that puts that on, man. Every time I go back and I see how you guys do it, like a light bulb goes off. It's like, aha, this is how it's supposed to be. So the inspections, how stuff is set up, the rule packages, I don't know, man. It's just like you guys back east are like the hub of Derby. The technology comes from back there. I really wasn't into what Derby was really supposed to be like till my first Mayhem, till I traveled back to Mayhem and got involved with Derby icons and Torrey Schutte and Dave Gard.
Yeah.
Stand-up guys trying to do a good job, paying the most they can. I don't think anybody's ever paid out like Derby Icons has, from the top all the way down. I was just, knocked on my ass. It was phenomenal. I come from an area where, 1,000 to win was normal, and chained up cars and buck promoters is what's the normal, and you go back there and you see stuff like what Sam Williams is putting on. It's like, wow, man, it's like a kid in a candy shop.
Absolutely right.
So,
That's how I felt there. That's how I felt.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
It's a good sport for kids to get into. It keeps you out of trouble. I have 6 boys, and at a young age, they all know how to weld and cut and work on cars. All that is good stuff to teach youngsters, man. It really is.
Did Josh tell you? that he's going to be on the FTS racing team at Blizzard Bash?
Yes. I'm lucky enough to get to run at Blizzard Bash. I can't wait, dude. I can't wait, except for the other night, I was like in bed, I'm thinking, like, what if I pull Mike Brown's heat? Like, I don't want to pull DMP.
Well, here's the
what
thing,
if I pull Guard? I don't want to pull Team Guard. I'm thinking all these teams are like, I don't want to pull that team. I don't want to pull that team.
You know what? You are going to take such an ass whooping out there. You might as well just...
Absolutely, man. Just enjoy it. Just enjoy it.
Just enjoy
Absolutely.
the moment.
Absolutely right.
Nothing else. You'll have the best seat in the house right in the middle.
Absolutely.
You're gonna pull through that Zamboni entrance, and your eyes are gonna be the size of dinner plates.
I'm gonna be
and
shaking.
And you back up because everybody backs up and faces each other. When you back up, you're gonna look out the window of that car, and staring at you is gonna be Bobby Brockway, and he's gonna do this
with 450 horsepower.
Oh boy, cannot wait! Sounds great.
Or it could be Mike Brown. He'll do the same
Exactly.
thing.
No. I'll wave Mike Brown off. It's like no, over there.
It could be.
I'll point at Wagner.
Could have been Jimmy Johnson. I mean, it could have been him instead.
Yeah,
could
that's
be
true. I
him.
thought about that. It's like, man, I have to duke it out all night with Jimmy Johnson.
It could be. I mean, it could be Pete Henson. At least you know him.
I'll be okay with Pete. Pete, my heartbeat will drop a little bit. I'm used to him beating up on me.
You're gonna hear the countdown. You're gonna think, "Huh, I have no idea what I just got myself into."
Dude. I've already thought all this through, Chris.
You hear 60 seconds of loud engines, and then you're going to be looking at the skylights.
Yeah,
It'll be okay.
I'll be upside down. It's all right. I'll have a smile on my face the whole time, man. No doubt about it.
The only person I've been envisioning when you actually have the opportunity to pull onto the track during Heat 1, the only person I've ever seen smile larger at a derby would have been Chuck Bowman.
Yeah.
That guy, he had a celebrity wagon that was about as big as his desk, and he was just grinning ear to ear. And I think pretty much second to that is going to be you when you get out of the track with Josh.
There's no doubt. I'll have a perma grin on my face. I love Blizzard Bash last year. I mean, to go there and then run would be. I mean, that's really a dream come true for me. To be honest with you guys,
major stuff, major announcements coming down the line with Sam when we get him back on the show, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Are we going to get a chance to see you, Troy, at any of the shows? We're talking about going to Spring Explosion, Metal Mayhem. We're talking about trying to get out there to Halloween Havoc, October 4th in Utah with Stir and Dirt. I mean, is there any opportunity that we're going to see you at one of these shows beyond what we hope to see you with Blizzard Bash?
God, I don't know, man. I'd love to tell you, hey, I got my stuff planned out, but I'm not that organized, to be honest with you. I know I'm going to Hot Rock and 4th of July. I'll probably go back to the show I won in Salt Lake in August. Might do May Mania, and all three of them are Utah shows.
Right.
My teammate went to Havoc.
Okay.
He raced in Imperial and Havoc. I think I was tied up. I wasn't able to go. But, I don't know. I like going back and racing back east, but, man, it takes a lot.
It sounds like we might be seeing your son, actually, before we catch up with you.
Oh, my son Josh?
Yes.
Yeah, I've been talking to Josh a bunch, actually. I want to try to stick him in a car, Troy. I hope you don't mind him getting stuck in a rusty Chrysler, but I think that's probably what he's going to get stuck in, But he has mentioned he would like to run on the East Coast, and I can imagine if I was on the West Coast, I would just kill to run on the West Coast, so I hope I can make it happen for him.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'd make his dream come true. I know he's at Fort Drum right now back there,
right,
somewhere around New York. That kid is derby crazy, man. Out of all my boys from a very young age, he was the one that was always on the net, always on Weed Crash, always talking about new styles and crush boxes and this and that.
Yeah.
That kid knows more shit than me, man, off the net, I swear.
Well,
he would love to jump in a car back there. And you know what? I would put you in a car out here in California. You do that for me, and I'll get you in something out here if you ever do.
All right, it's on TV that you just said that. Remember that, Troy. Remember that, because I'm going to get your boy in the car, I'm telling you. And Steve Bucknam was just saying to me before the show started, or maybe right at the beginning, maybe trying to get him to run out in Massachusetts at the Wood Booger show.
Northeast Championship.
Yeah, in the Northeast Championship. Maybe Steve and I can make that happen also. So we'll get with your boy, and we'll try to make something happen.
It's a mammoth purse out there, too.
I'll help however I can. You just let me know how. He loves that stuff, man. And he's in the Army. He's about 10 months from getting out, and that boy's just been spending all his money on derby shit. I have a stack of shit at my house right now that he's been buying. I get deliveries every day where he's just ordering shit, getting ready for the day he gets out of the Army.
Good
just send it to my house on a pallet, and then I'll put it together for him. And the extra stuff I'll use for a little while. But
send a couple fresh Mopars.
Yeah.
He's actually pretty fortunate where he is in Fort Bragg because he's not far. I mean, reasonably so. He's not far from Whitney Point. He's not far from the State Fair. He's not too awful bad getting to Massachusetts. Malone's up there, which is a really hard-hitting show. Governor's up there.
Yep.
Franklin County.
That's Malone, Franklin County.
Yeah,
and Fulton, the show that, if he comes down to Fulton from Watertown, that's not very far at all, and gets the opportunity to meet, the other legends that travel in and out of Josh's circle, like Josh Buell and Chad Winney. Brett will probably be up there again. Yeah, Rick Englehart. He didn't go to Fulton before.
Oh, no, he didn't.
I don't think he did.
Not running.
No, I was thinking Brookfield. Yep, you're right.
Yeah, but he's not far from that. I mean, reasonably, he's not far from there either.
He picks the kind of show he wants to run. Do you want to run modified? Do you want to run stock? What kind of car you run? And then we'll pick a show from there. He's got to kind of pick what kind of place he wants to go.
He doesn't care. He just wants to get the seat and put the pedal to the metal and get out there and have some fun.
Well, he started with me and he said, I want to run a GM. And I go, okay, well, I'm not really a GM guy. He goes, okay, well, I'll run a Chrysler. Well, I'll run a Ford. I'd run a wagon. Well, I'd really run. So it's like, you run anything I give you is what you're saying.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like he's a derby snob. Good to know.
No,
good kid.
That's what I like.
Good deal.
Yeah, he's a good kid, man.
Cool.
Well, Troy, we appreciate you taking some time out and hanging out with us here. It was great to have you on. We look forward to our paths crossing here before too long. Hopefully, we can get together at some point before Blizzard Bash. But if we can't, we certainly look forward to catching up with you in Topeka here in November.
You bet, man. I appreciate the opportunity to get on and talk with you guys like this. You guys are a quality act.
Well, we try.
Thanks, Troy.
We try. It looks good on TV.
No, thank you, Troy. It's pretty cool to have you talk to us because all of us on the East Coast know you, but to actually talk to you and have guys listen to you, I think it's pretty cool that we're all bringing each other together. So thank you for being on.
We've made it from coast to coast.
Yeah, it's cool. Very cool.
No problem.
Well, thanks again. We're gonna have Brandon Dixon coming up here in just a minute or two. But once again, thanks a lot, Troy. We'll catch up with you soon.
All right, man. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks.
talk to you later. Man, can you imagine just like driving down the road and it's like Buick Electra, clamshell wagon, you know?
Well, he said it's not like it's low hanging fruit. I mean, it's not hanging off of the trees, but
But he
apparently
doesn't know. He doesn't know how we fight.
Yeah.
Like I bet down there, it is low hanging fruit for us. Seriously, because we are fighting up here
Yeah,
for cars.
because I text Josh last night. I'm like, hey, do you know where there's any shockers? Yeah, I know where there's a cherry one in Pittsburgh. I know where there's a wagon, too, in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I ain't sending you the easy ones, buddy.
Pittsburgh's-
Yeah, I ain't gonna tell you about the ones in Owego or the one in Chemung.
Pittsburgh's a pretty good tow.
You pay me and
How
I'll find
bad-
you some
how-
cars. How about that?
How bad do you want it?
Exactly right, Christopher. I'm not
I
gonna
gotta
tell
pay-
you my good ones, buddy.
I got to pay for the car. I can't pay for the car and shipping and
Welcome
knowledge.
to the real world.
Oh, listen to this guy.
Hey,
do
Josh,
Yes, Steve.
we got a pretty good looking chat room again here tonight. About 10 or 12 people in here checking in with us from again all over the country. Nick Sorella out in Minnesota here with us. We got the guys up in Vermont here. Brandon Hayes checking in from his near deathbed out in Illinois. He was pretty sick last couple weeks. He's finally on the mend. But these guys are all listening to us talking about helping out. Is it? I'm sorry. Is it
Josh
Josh?
Tag. Josh.
Yeah.
Yep.
And a couple of these guys are saying, you know what, they want to be a part of helping out too. And if there's something that they can do to help us, then they'll do that as well. So
Oh, that's awesome,
I think
guys.
everybody wants to get behind him, and I think we're going to have some success with that.
Yeah, that's
deal.
awesome. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. You know, the kid in the military, I think he has a Medal of Valor. I think he got. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
You know, he's legit, and you
That's
know,
awesome.
And think of all of us. If we went somewhere far away and we were sitting there bored all day, and it's like, man, I really want a derby. I want to take care of the kid. You know,
Yeah,
I think that's
absolutely.
pretty cool. So good. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. Everyone, if you're Facebook me and we'll get the ball rolling a little bit.
Just wanted to say thanks to everybody who's in the live chat. The
Yeah.
live chat numbers are a little funny. We don't actually get to see how many people are hanging out in the live chat. Like right now, it says that we've only got 18 people watching live, and we've got probably a dozen or so in the live chat. Last week we talked about with Steve, you know, there was a dozen or so. There was 40.
Oh man, that's awesome! Thank you guys for everyone listening.
great.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
thank you
so
for
cool.
So yeah,
Thank
so
you.
I mean, you know, we
That's cool.
You know, count yourself. You know, pretty much multiply that number by 3 or 4, and it'll get you a little bit closer to the ballpark. I mean, it is really cool that we have that many people that are taking time out at 6 o'clock on a Monday after a long day of
Absolutely.
work to come and listen to us prattle on about derby cars. And we're gonna do it again here. Brandon Dixon from Redneck Rumble in Sturgis, Kentucky. We're gonna be catching up with him here next weekend, but Brandon took some time out of his night to join us here on the podcast. Brandon, how are you?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
We're doing okay. We're looking forward to this Saturday, I'll tell you that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, me too. I'm excited.
You know, when we initially talked a little bit about it, you didn't really know how things were going to go, but certainly looks like there's some pretty serious momentum building around Redneck Rumble.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk. I see a lot of guys on WeCrash, you know, wanting to bring parts and swap parts and stuff with the vendors, and looks like there's a lot of chat about it.
That's good. I mean, to have everybody talking about your derby this time of year, you know, you kind of got the market cornered. There's not a whole lot other option that people have in terms of a derby habit, and you've got the perfect situation with it being indoors there. 4 classes, outstanding lineup for the course of the whole show. Is there one division or another that you're looking forward to the most?
They all have something exciting to offer, it seems like, you know. You got your compact cars, you know, the little screamers, and then you got your old school class, which is kind of a mild build, and then you got your smash it cars, which is like what you'd see at Bash for Cash, and then you got your pro mods, which are just crazy.
I'd actually like to talk a little bit about that right there. Usually if you see a shared set of rules from one event to another, the promoter that wrote that rule book ends up saying, well, so-and-so stole my rules, because you don't label it as theirs. In this case, it's advertised as the Smash It class. It has their name right on it. How did that come to pass, and what has the reception been, and what kind of conversation, if at all, did you have with the folks at Smash It before you put the Smash It label on that division for Redneck Rumble?
Good question.
I actually called Tim up and talked to him a little bit about how they inspect your cars and what I could do to inspect these cars to the same degree they do. So if someone ran our derby and something small happened, they could still take it to Bash for Cash and be able to run.
And the rest was history from there. What's the reception been on that? I mean, people have really embraced it, or have you gotten some pushback there from your local support?
We've had a few guys that are like, well, have you ever ran, Bash for Cash? I'm like, no, but we recruited some guys to help inspect that actually are going to come down and help us tech these cars that have ran there. That way we know exactly what to look for. When
you get there and cars start rolling in, we were talking earlier this week what time everything was going to start. The show doesn't start until 5. Inspection starts at 8 o'clock, and you were a little bit nervous about having enough manpower to get through them all?
That's awesome.
I would be if we had to inspect all 100 cars to, say, the Smash It standard or the old school standard, but the compacts and the Pro Mods have a 5-foot rule inspection, so that doesn't take very long at all. You just check for safety and move them on through.
Well, so explain that to us real quick, because up here in the Northeast, Randy, we don't have a 5-foot rule. Probably a lot of guys don't know what it is. I mean, I understand what you're saying there, but virtually what you're saying is you look at it real quick for safety. You're not looking at the frame rails at all, bumpers at all. You don't really care what they did. Is that what you're saying?
More or less. If you can make it look remotely like, a regular frame, if you put tube steel in it, you put patch plates on it, that's fine. These cars aren't going to bend much. It's more of a who brought the best suspension and axles and best drivetrain. These guys are going to hit hard.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Yeah. If you can make it, if there's ever a more gray area word, remotely like.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So these cars, are these guys running these cars forever, or do guys get sick of that? Like, after you run them a couple times, do they turn into junk? I mean, what happens to a car built to those rules?
Just plate it.
Just keep plating it?
Normally, the bodies get beat off of them. You end up having to put a new body on the frame, what normally happens. The guys are getting a little more creative with skinning them. The guys are getting really creative with sheet metal. They're taking some 14 gauge and maybe even some 12 gauge and skinning these cars, and it actually looks like regular sheet metal after it gets beat on a little bit.
We saw that Chrysler 300 or New Yorker, the two-door Chrysler at Blizzard Bash, and that was a prime example of some of the creativity. That thing was coated in diamond plate, and then we saw there was a Buick that Jack Teagarden put in the dirt off to our left, and that car was kind of along the lines of what Brandon just described there. Can you run the mini trucks in with your Outlaw compacts?
No, we didn't go with that because sometimes the mini trucks have a little higher center of gravity than the cars. They sit a little higher. For one, we didn't want the chance of those, maybe some Rangers or something or S10s that sit higher, be able to get over top of the wall or have a higher chance of flipping over versus the lower, Mustangs and Camaros and stuff.
That makes sense.
I am excited about that. I mean,
compacts,
cool. Outlaw compacts, you don't get to see those a lot up here, and we saw that Outlaw compact class when we were in Topeka last November, and that was cool. And they had two Rangers. Hard. Yeah, they drove them hard.
They really ran them hard.
Yeah,
so I guess you just don't care. I don't know. Well, that's a different mentality.
You're coated in steel. I mean, nothing's going to happen. The only thing you got to worry about are the squishy parts inside. Your
brains. Now, Brandon, in the Pro Mod class, will you see mostly 80s cars, or are you going to see old iron, or will you see Imperials? What do you think will come car-wise?
I think we're going to have a good mix of both. I think we're going to have at least a third of the field being old iron. I mean, I know of a couple older GM wagons that are coming, some older GM sedans.
Nice.
A few older Chrysler products. I think there's an Imperial or two coming.
Cool.
So.
Now, in the old iron, what do you think will be your main car of choice? Chevy wagons?
I know of a lot of sedans. I don't think we're quite paying enough to bring a bunch of GM wagons in. The purse is $2,000. There's not a whole lot of people want to tear up a clean GM wagon for $2,000, but that's what the raffle car is. I mean, it's a '73 Chevy, so.
Nice, sharp-looking car.
You built that all yourself?
There's several guys here at the shop that helped out. Darren Zoff and Cody Keeber and Blaise Goodman, all the guys that we and Jake McWhirter that we all build together, so they all chipped in to help.
It looks nasty, man. I'm going to spend a bunch of money on Rambles. That thing looks really nasty. Every time I scroll my Facebook, I see it 20 times. Like, man, I want to run that thing. What's the motor and training combo on that?
It's a 355 Chevy with dart heads, Eagle rotating assembly. It's got a turbo 400. All the stuff's fresh.
It's going to scream.
Got a slider drive shaft. GM 10-bolt with 12-bolt axles, 513 gears.
Can't wait, dude. I can't wait to drive that.
I hope the person that wins that car is experienced.
Yeah, it just drives the balls off.
Oh my
it.
gosh.
Oh man, that's cool, man.
That's going to be outstanding. We used that. I mean, I'm not going to lie. We absolutely stole Brandon's picture for our show post, but I mean, that car was just too pretty to not put out there.
Awesome.
Somebody's going to win that car. That's not a car that's going to be in competition. It's going to be a car that's in competition driven by one of the spectators.
So
it's
cool.
just
Yeah,
awesome.
that's
It really is.
I mean, that's a nasty, nasty spectator car.
And you know, I've gone to derbies where they raffle off cars and you don't even want to sit in them.
Yeah.
You know, I've looked at them. It's like, I don't even think I want to buy a ticket, but.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's the real deal right there.
Yeah.
Brandon's building some nice stuff. So everybody, make sure you buy your tickets. Or don't, because I want to run it, actually.
If you do buy a ticket and win and don't want to drive it, please come find
Call
Josh.
me, call me, please.
Oh, man. How's have you begun trucking the dirt and stuff into the arena yet? Have you begun the actual prep, or is that rolling off tomorrow? Wait until later in the week?
The arena's already set up. It's ready to go.
Already ready.
Cool.
Dirt in the arena year-round. They just kind of change the configuration of some barriers and stuff up for different events they hold there. They do some, I think, horse training and stuff there and whatnot.
Well, they better get the horses out by this weekend.
Yeah.
Could be horses of a different breed.
Yeah, they got to make some room. I mean, the indoor show is such a great idea.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
we really need to get one out this way.
Mhm.
We need to find some place that will allow it
Carrier
to happen.
Dome.
I mean, the Carrier Dome, they've got the room to do it for sure. I mean, they certainly got the
They
room
run
to do
Monster Jam there.
For anybody that hasn't watched a derby indoors, the thing I noticed, the biggest thing was you can hear the separation in motors of the better motors. They are so crisp. They're so crisp indoors. That Blizzard Bash, man, is like you look at a car and you hear it. It's like, whoa, you know, it was impressive. Like, whoa, man. And that's what I liked about the indoors. Outdoors, I think it kind of muffles out, but like indoors,
Yeah,
man, it's piercing sometimes.
Yeah,
it was, my ears were itching.
Ringing, man.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
I kept my headset on the whole time.
It was
just
awesome.
because it made your ears itch.
Yeah, I remember when Rosno threw out his chip and just, wah! He was like the first guy to just, wah! You know, and it was just screaming and it just really hurt your ears. Like, I love that guy already. I don't know him, but he's a good guy. I can tell.
Josh leaned over to Ben and said, "I love that guy." And Ben turned to Josh and said, "What?"
That probably happened. That's funny.
And Josh Wade Moss said, never mind. And Ben leans over to Josh and says, "That dude's awesome."
You know, it was cool though. There were some people that just were not scared to step on their motors. You know, and it's cool to hear them indoors for sure.
You're gonna see that. You're gonna see that down here, man. That Smash It class and that Old Iron class are gonna be a ball.
Yeah, I can't wait. I've been watching the videos and they look good. They look good.
Nikki Baker, Hot Wired Customs, is doing the DVD for you down there. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, she does pretty good stuff. She'll be
Yes.
down there. We'll probably be talking to her at least once through the course of the day. And
She's had some great pictures.
Yeah.
Like that one of Bobby Brockway.
Yeah.
I mean, she's caught some really great pictures.
That was
Yeah.
impressive.
She's a good one to have for sure.
yep, she'll be down there, and like we talked about a minute ago, Derby Tees, and Derby Tees is doing the pay-per-view, so you can go on derbytees.tv and you can get all the information there. It's only like $15, and if you go to Derby Tees Facebook page, there's even some rebate codes and
You get
stuff.
$5
there.
off. Everyone should watch this. I mean, we got to help support ourselves here. Stop whatever you're doing on Saturday. Tell your wife to go to the mall and put this on. You know, put it on the credit card. Sit down and watch this. Every guy should. What else are we doing? You got the itch a little bit on Saturday. Watch the pay-per-view. I mean, how cool is it that now it's starting to be on pay-per-view?
Yeah.
Take advantage of it. Watch it.
Absolutely.
Sorry.
So,
It's just like we
Josh
need
Tucker,
to. I want to be on
also.
pay-per-view someday. Hey,
You're
everybody
going
watch
to be on
pay-per-view.
pay-per-view.
You're right.
Remember?
Yeah.
You're right. I
Yeah,
can't
that's-
wait.
that's
I want
all.
people to watch
Calm
it.
down, easy, Decker.
All right, I'm getting
easy.
excited right now. We've got a
Holy-
car outside.
you're
Let's
getting
go smash
you're getting all wound up.
Let's go smash some.
All right.
I mean, what's some of the farthest away some of these entries have been coming from? You getting people from the far west, or you getting anybody from the East Coast that's making the plan on coming out, or is it mostly local support?
No, we've got guys. The Smasher class is actually comprised of 6 different states. We got Kentucky, Ohio, Illinois, Indiana, Missouri, Tennessee. I mean, that's going to be a pretty fun class. I actually posted something on Facebook, seeing who thought what state was going to win. Maybe not so much what driver, what state.
That's cool.
I mean, that's a toss-up.
Yeah, that's neat.
That's cool.
You said there's a car coming from Ohio?
Ohio, there's 3, I believe, coming from Ohio. And each entry, it's not like a single entry from a state. Each state has like 3 to 4 entries in that class.
Cool. At these bigger shows, we're finding people running in clusters. I mean, you look at what Troy did. He had guys that he would run against at home that all banded together and traveled as a group of gypsies out to Mayhem when they went out there. We found pockets of Minnesota, pockets of Wisconsin, pockets of Kansas, obviously, because we were in Topeka when we've traveled to some of these bigger shows. But even at home here, when you go to Hartford, the entries come in clusters. You go to Cuba, entries come in clusters. You get 3 or 4 of them from Ohio, and then the next batch that comes in from Ohio, 3 or 4 from there, or 3 or 4 from Canada or from Pennsylvania. It's good to see that those guys that at home, who might be rivals when they travel, they're traveling and working together.
And it almost is like a vacation for us. I mean, you put so much into it; it means a lot. It's exciting, and then. Yeah, another guy's like, I want to go with you, and another, I want to go there with you, and it's like, let's all go together. It's that's where the sport needs to be. Is we do need the clusters. Yeah, of course, we don't want team driving at places, but that's the only way you're going to get guys if they come as groups.
But you need help in the pits. I mean, with a format like what Brandon's got with Redneck Rumble, it's all one and done. So that extra pit help you don't necessarily need, because once you're out there, all you got to do is get it back in the trailer. You can worry about the rest of it when you get home.
That's
Bring
great.
torches in case you don't get through inspection the first time, but for the most part, you don't need that. Some of these other bigger shows where they run a heat constantly feature format, you need those extra bodies. So if your one guy gets through on your team, he doesn't have nearly as much to do. He can help you out.
Absolutely.
We got Steve. Steve, you're raising your hand.
Go ahead, Steve.
I thought.
May I speak, sir?
Well, I think
Hey,
you're.
I know we're talking about that one run and done format, so the guys don't have to bring a lot of tools and stuff. But what about people that are coming for the first time that don't know what to expect from an indoor show? Should people be wearing hats and gloves? Maybe Brandon can tell us a little bit more about how it's going to work inside. Is there food for people? What are the fans going to experience when they're there?
We got actually 2 concession areas set up. I mean, they'll have hamburgers, hot dogs, sodas, candy, nachos. They actually grill everything. They got I think it's a charity group that helps grill outside. So they've always had plenty of concessions, that's for sure.
Is it cold inside there? Everything's opened up, or is it pretty warm like it was at Blizzard Bash? Blizzard Bash was warm inside there.
Fine.
Yeah.
I would say they'll keep it, reasonably decent. The outside temperature definitely dictates the inside on that because of ventilation.
Sure.
But there's definitely at least a 20, 30 degree difference between inside and outside.
So what's the temperature there now? I guess is what we need to know.
Good question.
Well, I think we're going to get lucky, and it looks like Saturday is going to be the warmest day of the end of the week. It's going to be in the 40s.
How about we get the warmest day of the winter and it's in the 50s?
40s ain't bad at all. I
No.
mean, I can handle.
You're looking
that
at
for
single
sure.
digits rest of the week here. 40 is going to feel like shirts and a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really want 40s when we go to Minnesota.
Yeah, that would be great.
Not happening.
I just
Not happening.
I just got.
So, people should bring warm jacket or sweatshirt or something. It's going to be at least a little chilly in there regardless.
Yeah, that's for sure. It's definitely a jacket and at least, good, thick, heavy pants. I'm not very cold-natured, so I'll probably just wear regular blue jeans and a Carhartt jacket and be perfectly fine. But, it should be, at least mid-50s through the show inside. Maybe at night it may drop down low 50s inside. That's what I'm hoping for. The very first year we went down there and actually ran the show when another local promoter put it on. It was like 60s outside. It was beautiful.
That's awesome.
It was like high of 35 or low of 35, almost 40 degrees at night. It was beautiful.
Worst case scenario, you can always go to the Derby Tees booth and buy a Redneck Rumble sweatshirt.
Good point.
Yep.
Oh, them things are awesome looking. Have you seen what Mark done with those?
Yeah, they look really good. Mark does an awesome job. He really does.
Yep.
I'm going to have to snag one of them when I'm down there.
Well,
One of my favorite bench shirts they've done.
Yeah.
let's wait on the whole sweatshirt thing until after the raffle car is done.
Okay.
You need to get all your tickets bought, and then if you have any money left, go buy a sweatshirt.
Fair enough.
Now, Brandon,
Fair enough.
as the promoter, have the nerves started setting in yet? I want everything to go right, and I don't want to run out of water. Or, as the promoter, are you starting to get nervous or anxious for the show to get underway?
Oh, definitely anxious and definitely nervous also. We actually had a dream the other night that I forgot all the radios, the flags, and everything at home. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. How are we supposed to have a derby with no flags or headsets? I already got everything in a tote now. I'm like, look, I can't forget this stuff. I'm putting it in a tote, and I'm going to go ahead and put it. We're taking a camper down. I'm going to put it in the camper now.
Sometimes people forget the stress that promoters are under when they get someplace like this. It's you guys are all doing a good job for the drivers, but there's a lot of stress on you guys, and we appreciate what you go through to put it on for us.
When you're planning that, I mean, how long is your checklist? I mean, what have you come across so far in preparing for this show that's been the biggest surprise?
We're really fortunate. Organization's what actually helps us make things flow. We've got checklists. When you have a car come through inspection and they need to cut certain things, we have a checklist of things that we think are major and could be decision makers in the show. If you missed an inspection, a guy had his front frame was like on the Smasher class. They have to be a certain length front frame. Well, obviously, if it's shorter, it's stronger. So if somebody was to forget to check a car and he got through it 19 inches, everybody else had 25 inches of front frame, that's going to make a major difference in the night.
Sure. Absolutely right.
Mm-hmm. So we've got checklists for each class.
Wow.
If something's not right and they come through, we don't check it off. And we got a special color paint that we paint that area. Say we found an extra weld,
Perfect.
Ooh.
paint it.
Ooh.
They come through, and they have to come back to get it checked off.
Josh, you're gonna see that in Penn.
Why are you telling me? I'm going to be up and up.
Just because I'm sure that you're going to be hanging out in the inspection line, making sure that everything's on the up and up.
Yeah, right. I don't care. No, so let me ask you, last year, will you turn guys away? Have you had times where you had to turn guys away, or everyone usually fixes it by the second or third time around?
Usually guys are more willing to work with you than not. I mean, they want to run. They didn't build the car to let it sit in the garage.
Yep.
So, I've seen guys absolutely mutilate cars to get to run. We caught a guy with internal hump plates before, and he butchered the rear frame rails to be able to get it out to run. He did way more damage than if he would just left it alone.
Right.
Do you wonder now if somebody comes and they're overbuilt beyond your rules, especially for the Smash It class, that it's going to be easier for them to say, you know what, I'm not going to fix it. I'm just going to save it and go to the Bash in Ohio instead?
That's quite a long time down the road, so
yeah,
that definitely wouldn't cross my mind, especially when they have such great odds of winning money at this show.
Right.
There's only 22 cars per class, paying top 5, and we're giving away 20 different prizes to people that run that night, so they have an opportunity to win a prize for hardest hit, or they got a chance of winning money, 25% chance of winning money.
Yeah, that's very good odds.
Yeah, it's pretty damn good odds.
That is
the
good
odds of winning money at Bash for Cash versus 150 cars.
Yep.
Right. Odds are good. You got to play the numbers game.
Yeah, definitely true.
So
cool.
I'm usually pretty lucky on one-shot deal. I usually place pretty good. Usually I just have to do good in the heat, and then in the feature have something small happen. Get hung up or flat tire or something.
I prefer one runs myself. Something about them, I just enjoy going to the track, relaxing with everybody, derbying, and just going home. Something about that is.
Yeah, it's a lot more work.
For me, it's maybe because I'm lazy. I don't know. I just hate doing heats and features.
Well, it's just, usually everywhere you derby, it's usually 100 degrees out, and the last thing you want to do is go out and run a heat, get overheated, come in, work on a hot car, go out, run a consi if you have to. Or go to the feature. It's just nice to come in and,
load it up and go.
Yeah. It was last year. I think it was last year, 2012, at Penn and Josh. looked at the rules the same way that he always does, and it didn't say anything about whether it was or wasn't a one-run, and he didn't bring any of his stuff, and he got really angry in the drivers' meeting.
Excuse me, sir. Somebody told me that it was a one-run deal, and it's a guy that's still my favorite to this day, and he knows who he is. But it was like, no one told me,
Yeah, but aren't you good enough to make it through heats and into a feature?
I was on the
without
wall in
hurting
30
anything?
seconds of freaking.
No, you did fine in the heat.
I won my heat.
Problem.
Oh, yeah, well, the heat, that's
you
easy.
did fine in the heat.
I'm not worried about that. I'm talking about the feature.
In the feature, you didn't get on the wall in the feature.
Well, I got shoved in that corner by
you got shoved in the dirt. It was
Tinker Toys. Tinker Tots or whatever their name is. Toy Tots, whatever the toys for tots.
I just saw the opening. I figured.
Throw that out there,
I
stir it
get
up.
fired up.
I've
Steve, go ahead. Chime in, buddy.
Hey, Brandon, we're talking a lot about this show coming up, and I know you've done a pretty good job of exposing your sponsors to everybody, but this is a pretty good outlet for your sponsors too. So, do you have anybody that you want to recognize that's helping to support your show that you want to get out there to the drivers?
Good question.
Oh, there's definitely tons of them. There's definitely guys that got some parts done for us the last minute that we were wanting. Brian Nerad ended up making a switch panel for us that way, because a lot of these guys, they just twist wires together and they don't even mess with switches. But
yeah,
it's not a real good idea for us to do that and expect a novice to come in and be able to twist the wires together and do it right and start the car. I mean, it's a real nice switch box, which he offers, to the public also. And
that's cool.
It's kind of dummy-proofed a lot of things. It's got a little idiot light on it, tells you when it's running and when it's not, or at least when the power's on and when it's not. So
that's cool. I love twisting the wires together, though.
All of our vendors are definitely, they're all open to donating product versus paying a vendor fee. That way it gets their products out there to the people.
Absolutely. Right. No, it's cool.
Can't go wrong there.
No, it's cool.
Yep, Steve beat me to it. You've got a pretty active Facebook page too. Get on there. There's a whole community that you can go on there and people are updating with pictures about the cars and stuff. Brandon, is there anything else you want to add? We're actually just about out of time. This hour has flown by tonight.
We're always out of time.
I think that's about it. I mean, we got a lot of stuff going on. Definitely excited. We're going to get started real early Saturday morning. We're actually going down Friday night, so anybody wants to show up Friday night vendor-wise to set up is more than welcome. The fairgrounds is under lock and key, so nobody's got to worry about their stuff being tampered with or anything.
Well, I
think we'll be down there.
Yeah, we're gonna be there Friday. I'm not sure exactly what time it's gonna be, but we're gonna try and get down there at a fairly reasonable hour so that we can get in, situated, rested, and ready to go, because we got to be at the grounds fairly early so that we can get together with Mark and get everything up and going and test it and see where things are and aren't going to be and kind of make the adjustments from there. We're certainly looking forward to it, Brandon, and appreciate you taking some time out and hanging out with us here. And best of luck as things go forward this week. Sounds like you're in real good shape in terms of being prepared. The venue's ready to go, and all we need to do is get through these next 6 calendar squares, and we'll be there for Saturday at Redneck Rumble.
All right, sounds good. We're taking the camper down sometime this week and getting set up. That way you guys come down and get all your equipment ready.
We'll be doing that.
Awesome.
We'll be looking for that camper.
Thanks, man.
I got some more questions for you that we don't need to go over them here, but I'll be getting in touch with you here through Facebook and.
Can I drink in the
phone.
Camper? Am I allowed to drink in the camper?
It's a dry county.
Oh,
That's gonna hurt.
We'll drag it out of there. Drag it to the next county.
That's not true.
No.
Josh will
sober
find
the
a
whole
way.
weekend.
Don't. Yeah. He's got a lot of work to do. Brandon, thank you.
All right, thanks, guys. You guys have a good one.
Thanks,
too.
man. We'll see you soon.
See you guys.
That's gonna be exciting.
Yep, it's gonna be a fun one. Steve's going with us. Steve, you're all ready to go?
I'm all packed. I'm sitting right by the door waiting to leave right now.
Yeah, you're gonna be driving out here Thursday, right? And then
waiting on the itinerary.
all right. Well, the itinerary.
Just leave now.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
leave now.
Yeah, the itinerary is coming around tonight. I gotta get this off here. There we go.
I'm pushing everyone to leave early.
Yeah.
I gotta go drop my trailer off. We gotta go pick up a car on the way home, Steve. So
Okay, that's fine.
I'm
Hey,
rushing. I'm rushing.
I'm going to throw a little teaser out there. I'm not going to say, but I have something that's arriving here tomorrow that I'm going to practice with for the next 2 days, and then we're going to beta test it at Sturgis. If it works, we'll announce what it is on Monday and show the results. If it doesn't work, this conversation never happens.
All
That's
right.
That's exactly right.
Sounds good.
It is going to definitely add some big time new elements to the hype videos that Steve does and some of the stuff that we've got going with Smashed Empire Films when we're at the same place at the same time. It's going to be real neat. I'm anxious to tinker with it.
Hey, before you guys leave for the show, are you going to take Steve over and show him the famous Waterloo Speedway Homeless Zion County
He
Fair?
doesn't care.
Well, first of all,
Tell
I
him
don't
you
have
care.
to show him because his family's already won there.
Yeah, but he was just a youngster then. He may not have been there.
76, I was -3.
There you go.
-3.
Good
I'm
for
pretty
you.
sure that our name is like up on like the champions wall there, though, so it's fine.
Brian
Yeah,
ripped it down.
if
Brian
you know-
ripped it down last Thursday.
If you know where the champions wall is, kindly let me
Let
know.
us
'cause
know.
I've never seen it.
Been there a lot. Never seen that one.
Yeah, I've been there quite a bit, and I haven't come across one of those. We actually talked about making one. I mean, I've got the
You
list.
have.
I can add that actually, because now I know in 1976 who won the Saturday Championship. That's the oldest date that I've had recorded.
Which, of
now.
course, in 1976, you were -10.
No, I'm not real good at math. -6, I suppose.
I was born in '82. Chris has got to be the same age, right?
Yeah, I
Are
was
you
born in
same age?
April of '82.
Mhm. I was born in December.
I'm older than you.
Yeah,
I don't look it.
you definitely do. You definitely do.
Decker's got a lot more miles on him.
That's a fact. But whatever that saying is. Real quick, Derby Banquet. Everybody don't forget it. I know the poker tables are full, but of course, Aaron Bunce is giving away that car that is turnkey ready to run. I've heard a couple guys have looked at it, and I guess it is super nice. So everybody make sure you get there. Yeah, so make sure everybody get your tickets, pre-buy them. I think they're cheaper if you buy them now. Get with Brett, Mark Benjamin, blah, blah, blah.
Where is it?
Treadway in Owego, New York.
The 14th, 15th.
15th. At least you got that.
Actually,
Official MC.
Yes. Go ahead. Yeah, I forgot to do that actually.
What's
We've
that?
talked. Steve and I have talked about this so much. I just kind of thought that it was a given. But Steve can announce that he is now.
The official MC of the Derby Party. I am the voice of Northeast Demolition Derby, and now the Northeast Demolition Derby Banquet.
wow,
Pretty cool, huh?
pretty cool.
And Josh Jekyll has signed autographs for $10 a copy.
I'm having some shirts made. They're pretty funny. They're pretty funny, actually.
Good Lord.
You're really having shirts.
I was-
made?
I already sold them all. That's the problem. There's
I
only
was
like 8
kidding.
left.
I'm sorry, fans. I was
I
kidding.
wasn't going to do it, but people were serious.
Oh my.
I heard that Josh is going to hand out shirts that have pictures of jersey barriers on them, but only hand them out to hot girls.
That's what my goal was, Steve. Thanks for blowing that. I thought I didn't want everyone to catch that, but that's what was going to happen.
And then you can get on the jersey barrier.
Oh, there you go. I like
It's gonna
that.
be
Okay,
awesome when the future Mrs.
I'm
Decker
with you on
shows
that
up.
one.
Hey, when the future Mrs. Decker shows up and starts smashing people, is that going to be all right? Or?
Yeah, she'll be okay with it. But it is after Valentine's Day. It is the day after Valentine's Day. I was told that. So
Josh had a shirt made for himself that's a jersey barrier, and then all the shirts that he handed out to the hot girls were all Josh Decker's car. That way, Josh Decker's car could get on the jersey barrier, right?
I guess I'm gonna try that. I guess
It's worth a shot,
I'm
isn't
gonna
it?
try that. Actually, that got me thinking.
Well, yeah, it's going to be a good time. It's February 15th. We go Treadway in. We're going to be down there live. We're doing a pre-show early in the day. There's all sorts of vendors and stuff, the car auction, the poker tables. We're staying down there. Josh is going to have his autograph session over at the Tough Stuff Derby booth because the line is going to be so long there's not actually room for us at our own table now. So it's going to...
People be booing me probably. Remember, it's all locals. Let's not forget. They know me.
Yep. But I think that's going to put this one in the books.
Man, they went fast.
It went by real quick.
Another
It went
good
by
one.
real quick.
Another
Yep.
good one. Cool to have Troy on there.
It's always good to
And
talk to
I
guys.
talked to Lazenby this week. Lazenby says he's going to get on here. We just have to set a day for him.
All right, we'll do
So,
that.
we
Yep,
gotta
we
get-
got-
I
But will he talk to the rest of us, or just you and him?
No,
gonna
we
talk?
talked. We're only him and I.
Well,
All right,
actually,
that's a big
it's going to be Lazenby listening to Josh gush about Lazenby.
Yeah, you're the best. You're my favorite. I love your cars.
I think they call it a man crush. I'm pretty sure that's a man crush.
Yep. We'll have him on. I know we've been in talks with Tim from Smash It. He's going to have a couple spots in April and May. We're going to have.
You said Sam Williams next week?
We're going to have him coming up. So
Sometime.
we talked a little bit. I mean, we've got a lot of stuff going on now
Mhm.
that we need to make sure we take care of. We've got the Cuba show coming up. We got another Compact show coming up in February. We've got all of our live stuff going on. So, I mean, Sam's going to be on. I can't even remember the day that we decided on, but I know we're going to be catching up with him. We're going to be catching up with Bo Lockwood again with some of the new stuff that he's got going as that stuff gets finalized. So there's a lot of good stuff coming both here in the studio at Finger Lakes 1, fingerlakes1.com, fingerlakes1.tv, and on the Crash Course presented by Keystone Nationals. When we go on the road out there, we're going to be in Sturgis, we're going to be in Garden City, we're going to be in Owego, and that just takes us through the third week of February.
With Brookville, I just want to say to the guys down there, I felt a lot of love. There was one spot left. A whole bunch of guys were telling me they were hoping I was going to be in there. I felt really bad. I immediately texted Bo. I said, if there's that spot left, let me take it. I clicked back over. They sold it to one other guy. You know, I was like, oh, man. So I want to say thank you for all the love of those guys down there asking me to come down there and run, and I'll make sure to try to make it on my list next year because I really thought that was cool.
Are you going to be down there? You're at least going
I'm going to
me,
watch.
Right? Yeah.
Absolutely. I'll be with you. Yeah, but I thought it was cool that guys wanted me to run. No, absolutely. I'll be down there to watch.
Right.
Won't miss it for the world.
Good.
Yep.
Good.
Thank you.
Good.
Sorry, I just want to throw that out there.
Because Steve Buckham's going to be there too.
Ooh,
the only person that's going to be signing more autographs in Brookville than Josh Decker is Steve Buckham.
Steve Buckham.
Brookville's my second hometown, and if I have my way, I'm going to move somewhere close to there within the next year or so. So
I'm
we'll see
hoping
how
soon.
that goes.
I'm hoping soon.
Nice.
Because he won't live. He won't live in New York.
Out at the end of July, and I really actually want to move this year. My wife is a little bit more reserved in that, but I've had it with this complex. I live in an apartment, and I really want to be like in Western PA, closer to people that I understand and get along with.
Sure, absolutely.
Well,
and we're close enough that you and me can transfer cars. You can find them, bring them to my house. You know, it'll work
absolutely.
out good. Yeah, I like that. Move down there quickly.
I told my wife that one of the criteria was that I had to be within driving distance of the studio so I could visit in studio and do some live stuff.
There you go.
Absolutely.
But not be in New York City.
No, New York sucks.
Well,
New York sucks.
You don't have to live in New York State. You can live in Pennsylvania, but in order to do the show here in the studio, you're going to have to be in New York, so I'm not moving it down there. Not going to happen.
No.
Not going to happen, especially at the wildlife preserve that you're stuck in. I thought you were being attacked by a panther there a minute ago.
I know. I got two of them here, and they're pretty ruthless when they want attention.
I know. It's crazy. Did you see the cats that were he was getting
Yeah.
pawed in the back of that?
Yeah, he was getting
As soon
whacked
as
from behind.
I saw the cat coming on, I cut to him too, so everybody at home could see it.
I appreciate that.
You got it. No problem. No
I
problem.
like
the
to
cat
try to
lady.
Push them out of the screen, but then I know I don't know when you're going to cut to me, so then I want people to see me like pushing my cat.
have the tree huggers after you.
Steve is the cat lady. I heard he has like 20 cats.
He's the cat lady.
I'm a dog person. Just for the record, I'm a dog person.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
barn doesn't allow dogs, so we have two cats. And my cat, his name is Crash because he's deaf and he crashes into stuff all the time and knocks stuff over.
That's great.
Wow.
And he's a complete asshole at 4 a.m. But other than that, he's awesome. So,
Awesome. All right.
All right, cat lovers, let's get out of here.
Yep, I think that'll do it. Guys, we appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out with us. We're going to be back here next week. We'll probably be a little bit weary, but we are going to be here from fresh off of our trip to Redneck Rumble in Sturgis. We'll have a schedule posted here and what you guys can expect in terms of live shows. We'll be down there working with Derby Tees, www.derbytees.tv if you want to get the pay-per-view. Thanks so much for joining us, and we're going to see you right back here again next week.